but also just to see that beautiful smile on your face and the energy that you exude, and looking at the work that you've done and the messages that you want to share. Sometimes children's books are overlooked in the publishing world. They're not taken seriously, but we've had you and other publishers come on and enlighten us about how many adults read those children's books and are able to get value from them as well.
Thank
So
you.
thanks for being on today. Keep smiling. We look forward to having you on again. Our next guest today is going to be Dr. Paul Miller. Do we have Dr. Miller in the chat?
I am here and thank
Ah,
you.
good morning, sir. Good morning. So glad to have you with us. My name is Robert Bernay. I'm the AI guy at not at Mama Pearls, but at Perfect Publishing. And we are in our umpteenth hour today with the Smile-a-thon. The sun has come up and we've got a few cups of coffee in us, and we're so glad to have you with us. So glad to see you smiling this morning. Would you care to share just a little bit about who you are and what you do? And we'll move on to allow you to share your message as well.
No, I appreciate it. Yes, I'm Dr. Paul Miller, and I am an author and an educator for the last 25 years, been in education, and an author of 5 books, will be six soon with the children's book coming out.
Fantastic. Do you have a message you want to share with us this morning, or did you
Oh,
want to
absolutely.
do a question and
I,
answer?
nope, we got a message, and we'll get started if
Well,
that's
you've
all right
got
with
about
you.
13 minutes, so my friend, enjoy your time. We look
I,
forward to hearing how you can help everyone to elevate their smiles today.
I need the screen share enabled, please. Thank you. Still waiting for the screen share. So, uh, my name is Dr. Paul Miller, and I am here to share the School of Smiles with everybody. Um, and what I really want people to understand and walk away with is, as a longtime educator, so providing some context and background. I've been educated for 25 years. In my last placement where I was a school leader, I ran 2 schools. The school that I ran were 97% Black and brown young men and 90% poverty. However, we averaged a 95% graduation rate, 100% acceptance to college, 25 million in scholarship money. We were changing the narrative specifically for Black and brown young men, because this country currently has not set up systems that work for Black and brown young men when it comes to education. So we're trying to change that. And with the School of Smiles, we want young men who have smiles like this. We want young men who are happy to go to school, whose school is changing the narrative for them and giving them the ability to have the greatest equalizer, which is education. So, Black boys are not broken. They're often grieving. So when the Black boy is sitting in the back with the hoodie on, notebook empty, fake smile, they're not lazy. Sometimes they're just a little lost and scared and convinced that no one sees them. So has anyone asked why he hated school? Has anyone noticed that he was grieving that his cousin was shot last year? But often our educators who don't quite always look like them are just want to write them up and chalk it away to discipline. So what ends up happening is this is often the face of the school to prison pipeline, and where it all begins at, because too many smiles are missing. And they're missing because the reality is that the young Black man is not trying to um, be angry. He's just trying to protect himself. And currently in the schools throughout the country, 1 in 3 Black boys expect to be incarcerated at some point in time. And they are building prisons right now due to reading gaps in the 3rd grade. They're making projections on how many prisons are needed. I'm in a city where I'm from Rochester, New York, where the proficiency around that 3rd and 4th grade mark is somewhere around 2% in math, and 8% in ELA. So they're already calculating that a lot of prisons are going to get built. Suspension rates are 3 times higher than their white peers. 40% of Black students with disabilities are suspended or expelled. There's over policing and under supported classrooms. So this isn't education, it's just system neglect. And so the goal here is to utilize education and utilize some of the methods that we're going to talk about to be able to change education and change it specifically for Black and brown young men who have the ability to succeed and have the ability to smile, and it's inside of them. But we're going to help them get there by changing how we do education. So often, the current systems have low expectations and implicit bias. There's harsh disciplines for minor behaviors, isolation from learning, mistrust from adults, and they're pushing kids out. We're building prisons, and we're not addressing the pain. And at the end of the day, uh, we're building a trap, not a system. So our goal is we have to do things differently. So for all my educators out there who have the ability, now it's time to make the effort. If you knew better, you would do better, and you would work on changing some of these things. Because school often feels like a setup. So when the young men come, they often feel unseen, unheard, misread, misjudged, punished for their pain, because a lot of it is rooted in their trauma. And then they're rewarded for their silence. So when the young Black man is quiet, they feel like they're behaved. And a lot of times they're getting moved on and passed over. So this is how too many Black boys feel in America. And so it's not defiance, it's often self-defense. And so it's understanding that. It's understanding that so we can make education what it needs to be again. But before they smile, they need to be seen. So the first time that they've been asked, are they good? And actually believed it. So who was the adult that needs to look through him that doesn't look away? For me, as a teacher, is one of the most important people that could ever come into a child's life. Like you don't remember the content a lot of times, and there's some of us that remember content. Well, for me, it was more about how did your teacher make you feel? I was going through a lot as a youth, and they gave me the ability to work through having the support that I needed. So I remember the fifth grade teacher, Miss White Cork, or Dave Kayeza in seventh and eighth grade home-based planning room, or Walter Yankee, who ended up, would cook us meals in high school. But it was because they took the time to build relationships with students. And that's what leaders need to do. And that's what teachers need to do, because it all starts with a relationship if you want to change a young man's life. So it's how that coach or teacher showed up with you uh, and for you, and what is their presence, and how does their presence affect you? Because that has to come first and foremost before we just dive into the education. So relationships are built on a foundation, and so that's the first pillar. So there's 4 pillars that should happen in every good school, and these 4 pillars should take precedent, and specifically best practices for educating Black and brown young men. So with relationships as the foundational pillar, you need to daily build trust rituals, check-in, shout-outs, listening, showing them young men that you care. Staff who know the story behind the silence. Like staff need to be able to integrate, dive deep with kids, and build relationships in order to be able to foster the success that's needed. Learning and understanding culture before curriculum. The first day of school, you don't want teachers just diving into the X's and O's and the pluses and the minuses. You need to develop a culture within your classroom, but you also need to develop a culture of understanding the children that you're working with. And then the mentorship should not be exceptional. I mean, the exception to the rule, it should be what's expected. It should be happening, and it should be built into the school to really develop the relationships that you need, because everything else is really about trust, and the trust that's built is the classroom that you're going to have. The second pillar is instruction. Now, instruction should heal, not harm. So, teaching content that reflects identity. Um, what's disheartening is this country has moved to taking away the history and taking away diversity, equity, and inclusion. However, the rules and the systems are still in place that are exacerbating the failures. And so we have all of these young men, and we have these statistics that are showing that often Black males are the lowest performing. But The content doesn't always reflect their identity. Projects need to be purposeful around their community. Infuse joy into rigor. Design lessons that are trauma aware because we know that there's so much historical trauma that was built for 400 years that has been used to systematically oppress often young black males, and we have to change that. So the key elements of trauma are are providing for trauma informed practices is providing a safe environment, creating a safe environment, building trust, regulating that support, help the students learn to manage their emotions, not the behavior, avoid re-traumatization, use restorative approaches over punitive discipline, hearing their voice, putting their voice at the forefront of what they need and want to making them an important part of their education. And staff training, make sure your educators know how to recognize it and that they choose empathy, not punishment. And there's nothing wrong with consequences and having high expectations, but you have to have an empathetic lens where you're caring more and understanding what's happening so you can meet somebody where they're at and pull them from where they're at to go where they need to go. Now, data is the third part of this pillar, the system. So you have to use data and use it as a mirror, but use the data to find the kids, not punish them, to track their belonging, not just behavior, to be able to set growth goals based on who, not just what. They're not just a number. Who are they? And adjust in real time. Use the data uh, to make sure that you're able to be responsive to show any disconnections. The number should never dehumanize the names that you're working with. So the data is a crucial part. And the last pillar is something that a lot of times adults don't like. And they want kids to do it, but they have a hard time being accountable themselves. So accountability is a promise, not a punishment. Leaders, model the way. Do what you say you're going to do. Leaders walk the hallways, not just write policies. Adults, model the dignity and discipline, restorative circles before suspensions, high standards met with high support. So one can't be without the other. You got to have the high standards and meeting people where they're at. Don't lower the bar. We lift the boy. So what happens? Suspensions drop, literacy rates climb, leaders rise. We have academic excellence. They stop surviving and start thriving. Teachers stay and because there's culture that holds on to them as well. Families re-engage, smiles become real. These young men end up smiling from the inside out because they're in a place that didn't give up on them. So they won't give up on themselves. In order to do that, definitely want to implement the Guided to Greatness philosophies. I'm Dr. Paul Miller, as I said, an author who has 5 books, will be six. And Guided to Greatness, there's a whole framework here because you're going to grieve the loss of potential. So you're going to grieve the loss of potential to make sure that students who have the ability will never lose their potential because you care about that more than anything else. You're going to understand their cultural wounds and understand how to apply it. We got to tell the truth about race bias and equity or inequity that's happening and actually address it and turn that pain that's created from all that inequity into the new policies that work that are more culturally responsive. Equip the staff with tools, and as a leader, you need to rise and lead the schools with purpose around a mission and vision to create shared collaborative environments that will equal results for your kids and having these high expectations in place. Building a school doesn't have to be difficult, and the smiles will come from the inside out if you concentrate on relationships and culture before content. Instruction teaches to the soul, data to guide your equity and honest decisions, and accountability for all to help up to the mission. So we don't need saviors. What we need is just not to do the harm in the first place. And we need schools that are successful to build the smiles that we want to see. So I am Dr. Paul Miller, and that is pretty much my time here. And I just appreciate everyone and want to give the ability to connect with me, drpmiller.com, or from the gutter to greatness on almost all social media platforms. Uh, any questions? I'm still open and available.
Well, Dr. Miller, that's an amazing set of accomplishments and goals that you set for yourself, and just to see the smiles on those boys' faces, and I think that one of the things that you give them, if you had to boil it down, is you're giving them a future and you're creating a space where they can find that future and you facilitate the confidence and the opportunities for growth that they just might not see. And I like how you said we don't have to fix anything. We just got to stop breaking things. So thank you so much
Mhm.
for your time today. It was a pleasure to have you on. I hope you do keep smiling and putting smiles on those boys' faces.
Thank you. I'm from Rochester, New York. I saw a question in there. Please connect with me. Have a great work internationally. So please have a great day and keep smiling.